So, wow, Coach, you had a big week. First, you made the top 25 for the second time. Then you drop off a big one at Berkeley, and then you hold off an upset at Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
How is your team feeling right now?
Well, obviously we would have loved to win 2 games, but to be able to split on the road and actually go, having that first loss, you never know how your team's going to respond, and they responded well. So I think through that experience, obviously we were upset that we lost, but we balanced it out by showing a lot of resiliency and coming back. So we were happy that we were able to respond. That's what championship mentality and championship teams do. And try to get better from it. And I felt like the guys competed and, coming out 1-2 on the road, and we were happy about that.
Anything else, guys?
That's it.
No, I'm just
Dylan, you're the man, buddy.
Either of you guys have another one?
Yeah. So Stevie Thompson Jr. on Oregon State, he scored 30 last time you played them. How are you gonna try to contain him this time?
Well, it's hard to contain great players. They've got a really good team. They've got 3 all-league type players, the Thompson twins and Trace Tinkle. They got really hard to stop all of them, and you just gotta. Some guys, some great scorers, they're going to have big numbers. You just got to try to hold their percentages down and know where they're at and make them take more difficult shots. But he's a great player and has had a great year. And we got to make sure we do a better job of finding him, and not only in transition but in the half court. How cool is this, by the way? It actually has it's an old cassette. Whose is this? This is really cool. Isn't that cool though? I was like, technology is just incredible. I'm over there oh my God, it's really rolling.
Is it easier to fix stuff when you come back home like this or when you're on the road?
Fix what?
It's just anything that you saw that you thought you needed work on, especially after Cal.
Yeah, you know what? I think Cal played great. They made shots. I thought we defended them. I thought pretty well. Made tough plays in tough situations, that's how we challenged our guys in the Stanford game. But teams are going to have great shooting nights, and we've got to be able to hopefully defend them into not having great shooting nights. And it goes back to our activity. And so, I know the one thing about being home is we've had great crowds. We're going to have 2 great home crowds, and that gets the juices flowing. So the energy part will not be a question. It will be more so calming them down and making sure that we're poised and not too juiced, with the work at hand.
You talk a little bit about Amir, and sometimes he plays with confidence, and other times he looks like he's a little unsure.
Yeah, I think the young guys do that. I think that young guys are always going to be inconsistent, but boy, when he's playing, he's a difference maker. And he was playing, making block shots, rebounding the ball. I mean, his numbers don't show that he has a huge rebounding night. Just his presence and the way he plays. He plays winning basketball. Made a couple great passes, made his foul shots, made a huge 3. But he just plays, and that's when you know you got a good player. I think I tell him all the time. I'm like, I'm just a dumb coach. If I'm trying to take your I'm trying to coach you hard, but I let you play with confidence, and you need to play with confidence all the time. And so just keeping him positive will help us in the future. He had a big-time game.
Noah told us he's trying not to think about the last 2 home games of his career.
Yeah.
How do you approach that with your 4 seniors? Are you trying to keep them focused in the moment, just attention to your business? Or it's hard.
I think it's hard. They're kids. When your college career is coming to an end, it's always difficult. I remember senior night, I walked out there with my mom and dad, and I was crying. It's just emotions, and not only that, but the fans and the supporters and your family and everybody's there. It's a really special moment. I think the biggest thing is we've got to work. I mean, it's a work day, and there's emotions, and it's great, but we got to be focused. I'm going to talk to these guys about get your ticket list in and do this, and it's like getting married, and like weddings, like those are celebrations, but they're greater if you win, or the girl doesn't run off and say, I'm not marrying you. You got to go out there and you got to go and execute. And if we can go in there and execute our game plan and play with that emotion and play together. And that's that focus piece is really, really important. So just focus. Know that the moment's there. We'd be naive to think it's not. But focus on what's important, and that's playing together, playing hard, executing our game plan, and coming out with a win.
Is it hard to put into words what these four seniors have meant to you and your program?
It is. Someone asked me yesterday, they said, "Do you like your team?" I said, "I love my team, and I love those kids." And, to see, as an educator, teacher, whatever, to see people grow off the court, on the court, seeing them understanding, believing in what your guys, the coaching staff and the program is selling and the culture and all those things, and to see them grow has been a lot of fun. And to see them have success has been really special. And those four guys, we got the job, and you don't know who's staying, who's leaving, if you're going to have a roster or not have a roster. And they stayed, they believed, they came together, they worked, and they bought in. And to see them have success is really, really rewarding.
What are the biggest things you hope that the younger guys on the roster learned from this group for the program going forward?
I just think, sacrificing yourself for the betterment of the team and the program. All those guys, Matisse is like a great ballerina on defense, and he sacrifices. He doesn't take the most shots. He has when he has to, but he just changes the game. And Noah, obviously, it's frustrating getting triple teamed every time, but knowing that it's the best for the team. And David Chris trying to play a different role, but he's doing what's best for the team. Dominic Green, he's not starting, but he's coming off the bench. Great attitude, a hardest worker, does what he does. And so, they've all sacrificed a little bit for the greater good. And I think, moving forward, I think that's what we're about. And I think they've been great examples to our younger guys in that regard.
Mike, with the sort of the nature of what college basketball is now, do you consider it a rarity that you've had four guys who've been here all 4 years, and not moved on? Because sometimes, like you said, these guys will have to sacrifice, or they won't want to, and they'll move on to a place. Is having four seniors who are major contributors like that sort of rare now?
You know what? It is. I think that what we've got is the key to, I think, successful programs. Kids that are consistent, they're getting better. They've got 3 and 4 years into your system, and some guys can be more patient than others, and that just means you got an incredible team mindset. And you hit challenges, you try to get better rather than run. And a lot of those guys, that's what they did. And so it's one of the reasons why we're good. Even though we've coached them for 18 months, we haven't had them for 4. But they've done everything we've asked.
How do you evaluate recruiting guys that might be one-and-done recruits, along with balancing out the roster, making sure that you don't lose 4 or 5 guys so every year?
I think you just got to have a sustainable system, and sustainable system is having guys. I believe in also. It's just the right. You're trying to get the right fit, even if it's a one-and-done guy or they have the potential to. It's about winning. It's about team. It's about being part of something greater than yourselves. I think having guys that might not be ready right away, but boy, in a year or two they could be special players because they want to be a part of that. They have a special skill. You got to have guys in your program that want to be here and they see long term.
Mike, do you feel like the loss to Cal kind of added some urgency to these last 2 games with some speculation starting that might have hurt your tournament chances?
I don't think so. At the end of the day, everybody's, there's so many different upsets or games. I was telling somebody yesterday, when we played Kansas last year on ESPN, we had a 2.7 chance of winning. And not only did we won by 9. And that's why they play the games. And sometimes teams just play exceptional. And I don't want to take away what Cal did. I mean, Cal executed. How many teams have scored? What did they score? 46 in the first half against us? 45 in the first half against us? And how many games have we made 10 threes and had 13 assists in one half and didn't win by 10? And that gives, you got to give a lot of credit to Cal. I think we've played with urgency. Sometimes you play against a bad matchup or a team that gets hot, and that's what happens. Sometimes the ball just doesn't bounce your way. I always think it's more so for us, it's how do you bounce back from adversity. And this year we haven't lost 2 in a row games, and so I think that's where you got a good team, where your experience matters and where you fight. But the thing that's made this team special is having that chip on your shoulder, and we've been promoting the urgency all the time.
On the bounce back, it's special for a team to come back as a collective after a loss, as opposed to one person
Sure.
trying to do it all at once.
Yeah.
And how have you been able to install that team mentality after a setback?
I just think it's hard. Listen, to get everybody to buy into the bigger picture is a hard thing, but we got, like I said many times, we got a great staff that's promoting that, and it's the messaging every day. And sometimes I don't think our guys, when certain guys take more shots than others, I think they're trying to win. They're not being selfish, but sometimes you when you're so, losing maybe a little bit of poise, you become what? If you rattle the cage, like you instinctual. And we've had our best games this year where, we've had 5 or 6 guys in double figures. Even in the last game against Stanford, if you look at the scoring column, it was 7, 6, 5, 12, 14. Everybody's contributing. Defensive end, offensive end, and that's what we're promoting is the defense dictates who's going to get the shots. One of the most important things I think as a coach is making sure that if you're not having a great offense tonight, to make sure that it doesn't affect on the defensive end, because the defensive end is what travels. It's what we can depend on every given night.
Mike, with the 4 seniors, is there like a special moment you can think of, or something that you always remember with each one of them, something that they did, or just like a crazy moment that they had, or just how they were as a person?
Collectively or individually?
Individually.
There's been all of them have given me a moment. I think, I always go back to when we were recruiting them to stay. And, I always remember visually about Noah Dickerson. We're doing our 6 a.m. workouts, and we're going, and one of the things was he wanted to be in great shape, and we got our staff, and we're about to conquer the world, and everybody's rolling, and we just did our early morning workouts. We're going to go eat at the Conda Bear and eat, and we're going through there. I'm waiting, and I come, and I think everybody's in there, and I see Coach Dollar and Noah walking this way. And I'm like, where are you guys going? I thought we were going to eat. He goes, no, we're going to go back and get on the treadmill. And I just remember Noah in that moment really committing to being a great player. And, it was the way he got in shape. It was the way he improved his foul shooting, and the way I thought he was one of the best players in our league that year. But I always remember that. And, David, the moment for me was the way that he managed the Kansas game. And we were playing, and he hadn't taken a lot of shots, but he'd been managing it. And then, Noah gets the ball, and he gets a loose ball, and he kicks it out, and then he hit the dagger, and they're trying to make the run. I'll always remember that. Matisse, there's been so many moments with all these guys. Matisse was the day that he told us he was staying, and his dad gave me that card. I'll remember that. That's a brain tattoo. That's forever. And then Dom, fighting me, wants to do more, having him buy into his role. Didn't play in, I think maybe it was 2 games, and we go to USC, and they're playing zone, and he makes 3. It just changes the game. He just, and it was kind of like that moment where it was, that's how I'm going to change. And, with Dom, you'd walk in the gym, and it could be at any time he's running the stairs, and always in the game working, and obviously we'll always remember the Arizona shot. And so a guy that I think he shot 17% from the 3-point line the year before, seeing his growth and seeing him become that guy who we believe can be the best shooter in the league, in the country, and to seeing that be fulfilled, it was a lot of fun. And to have that moment, I can see him doing this. up in the crowd. It's all the students around him. I mean, how many guys have that moment? And he's the guy that, if you talk about work ethic and all that he's just given right arm, left arm, toes, and everything to the program and to the team. And all those guys have had a lot more moments, but those are just stick in my mind.
Last one, guys.
To finish up here at home, what would that mean to you?
Huh?
To finish 16-0 at home, and what would that mean? Potential for that?
I mean, we're 16-0. I don't know. I think well, listen. At the end of the day, like I tell these guys, this is the corny coaching stuff. You know, we're so focused on just Oregon State, you know, and we can't get ahead of ourselves. We just got to go out and how do we stop them? How do we defend them? How do we score against them? And I think the hardest thing in this thing is with social media and with the world that these kids live in is keeping them locked in. And, you know, in life you want to win the last game. It's the hardest thing to do. And hopefully that's and that other thing, you know, the highest. But it really is. We're going to succeed if we're focused on that. And then we'll worry about the next one and prepare for that, just like we're preparing for this. And, you know, winning's great, losing's awful. But just got to learn from it, move on, and, you know, we'll see what happens.